What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm George. This is Bert. We're Baggers and Brews, and we got a video coming today that has been a hot topic for everybody, talking about Harley, talking about Harley values, talking about wokeness, talking about decisions that they've made over the past few weeks. So what we're going to do, we're going to start this out a little bit differently. We are going to show you a commercial that we found from about 17 years ago or so about Harley, that Harley put out, that addresses who Harley is, who their riders are, and what their beliefs were just a little less than 2 decades ago. So if you've seen this, just fast forward the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
We believe in going our own way, no matter which way the rest of the world is going. We believe in bucking the system that's built to smash individuals like bugs on a windshield. Some of us believe in the man upstairs. All of us believe in sticking it to the man down here. We believe in the sky, and we don't believe in the sunroof. We believe in freedom. We believe in dust, tumbleweeds, buffalo, mountain ranges, and riding off into the sunset. We believe in saddlebags, and we believe that cowboys had it right. We believe in refusing to knuckle under to anyone. We believe in wearing black because it doesn't show any dirt or weakness. We believe the world is going soft, and we're not going along with it. We believe in motorcycle rallies that last a week. We believe in roadside attractions, gas station hot dogs, and finding out what's over the next hill. We believe in rumbling engines, pistons the size of garbage cans, fuel tanks designed in 1936, freight train-sized headlights, chrome and custom paint. We believe in flames and skulls. We believe life is what you make it, and we make it one hell of a ride. We believe the machine you sit on can tell the world exactly where you stand. We don't care what everyone else believes. Amen.
So yeah, if you didn't see that video, or you didn't see the opening part of this video, it's because we might have been told to take that down. But what we just showed was...
winging it. We're winging it.
Yeah,
baby. Let's go.
Winging it. What we just showed was
sticking it to the man.
Harley Davidson video commercial from 17 years ago. We'll link it in the comments below, which we can also do.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah, that's a clear cut. That was a clear cut like statement about what the company stood for.
About who their customer was.
Their customer was.
It seemed like they knew who their customer was.
Yeah. But is that the same Harley that we have today?
It is absolutely not.
That's what we're going to talk about today. So thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. We're getting to this topic a little bit late because I was in Sturgis and, just getting settled. We just now having an opportunity to get together and have this conversation. This is going to be a Baggers and Brews style video. We don't script this stuff. We don't have this planned out, what we're going to say and what specifically we're talking about. We know we're talking about Harley, the whole thing that's been going on over the last few weeks, but we're just going to have a conversation about it. So that right there, that video was as clear as day what that company stood for at one point.
Makes you want to buy Harley.
Bucking the system, sticking it to the man.
Seeing what's over the next hill.
Not following and not caring what other people wanted. And they talked about the country getting soft and them not going along with it. Well, I mean, if you're jumping on board DEI and all these other things, is that...
country's a lot softer today.
Is that not jumping on board with...
That's conforming.
Politics, the government, the softness of the country. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of dive into that today, and just kind of, just work through it.
Yeah.
And we're just going to work through it because we honestly haven't really talked about it amongst ourselves.
A little bit,
very little bit, but we haven't talked about what we wanted to say here. But I came from Sturgis. I was just there. I was there for 3 weeks.
How was the Harley booth at Sturgis?
So that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. I've watched a lot of videos trying to like do some research for this. I've read some articles, watched a lot of videos because I like to see what other people think and what they're kind of saying in their videos, just to bounce it off like what I think. And I know a few people, some of the bigger ones. Cycle Drag did a whole big thing on it. He's at all the rallies. Great channel. Actually didn't meet him, but he did a flyby on one of my videos. I didn't even realize it till after the fact. But he did a whole big thing on the Harley booth over there. It's not really a booth. They have a whole corner block, set up there with all their bikes displayed, and they call it the Harley Lounge. They have the Hog tent there set up for. They have a whole bunch of things going on.
Your rally pin, all that stuff.
They have a challenge going on while you're there to ride to multiple places if you're a Hog member. They have all this stuff. They have a lot of stuff going on. They have a big setup, right? A big display. It's not a booth. I only was there for a little bit. We went there to one day. The same day we hit up Indian and did some test riding there. And when we went over, it wasn't dead. Mm-hmm. Was it swarmed? No, but I don't feel like those things really ever are. Like 90% of people have their bike and aren't looking to buy one. You know what I mean? Wasn't dead, wasn't packed. I didn't hang out there. I didn't camp out and freaking monitor that thing for a week. So I don't know how it was over the course of a week. But it didn't look dead. I don't necessarily know if that... The amount of people they had interact over there is one of the reasons they came out with this recent, breaking news kind of thing, which we'll get into. I don't know if that was it or just, the overall social media sentiment and feeling and talk and discussion on it and the outrage online. If that had to do it, I don't know, is there declining numbers recently, in the last couple months? So, but I didn't think the booth was crazy dead. I didn't think it was any more dead than the Indian one was, which we'll also get into this because everybody loves to, as soon as Harley has a little bit of struggles or some woes, everybody loves to, tout how amazing Indian is. We can get into that too because I've got discussion on that. I got some input on that from the rally, but
might surprise some of you. Some of you have not heard the right information on the YouTubes.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, but. So yeah, I don't know, and this isn't a video where we're gonna. I don't think either of us are gonna claim to have the answers, or necessarily. We have an opinion, based just based on our own experiences. But so what is the big hullabaloo? What is everybody freaking out about since late July?
What are the facts? I mean, the facts are Harley's a big corporation. Harley has shareholders.
Huge.
Harley has a CEO who. I mean, let's be honest. He's European, he's German, he's going to be more liberal than he's going to be conservative all day long. Comes with the territory.
Facts.
So, they had a diversity and DEI, training and DEI policies, and they had diversity, inclusivity, and whatever the heck.
Like so many
companies do.
Big time, all the big companies have.
So many companies have them.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make, Again, this is one of those things. I think most of you that watch us regularly kind of know where we fall politically, but this isn't on Baggers and Brews. We don't really get into that. We don't dive into that a lot. But this is part of the discussion with Harley Davidson. They did kind of make it about that, so we might dive a little more into that than we normally do. But it's what's most people consider a left-leaning kind of concept in business, of policy, of inclusion and diversity and all this stuff, which are, many people will say are code words for other crappy things. And then the other side will say it's all about, having a fair playing field. That's not really, honestly, we're not really here to discuss that. But the fact is, and this is undeniable, probably 90+% of the Harley base buyer and fan and, person who's going to be riding these bikes and purchasing them are not okay with these policies.
Yeah.
Know your audience, right? Know your customer. And I know that they're trying to reach a different sector of the community because they have us, 40-plus-year-old white guys locked up, and they're trying to get younger. They're trying to get more diverse in ethnicity. Understand that, and I'm completely fine with that. Any business should be striving to that. But do you do that at the cost of and the detriment of the loyal majority of your customers? Is that smart business?
Yeah, no, it's not smart business. I mean, the other thing is that, Harley resides in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not a state that's like gleaming red, right?
No,
so they are in a state environment,
state.
right? They're in a state environment that, kind of dictates this. Now, whether workers at Harley are like that or not, Wisconsin, I'm sure, is a lot like New Jersey and many other states where most of the state, is not, let's say, not in favor of DEI. And small portions of the urban part of the state are going to be for DEI.
Because they have large numbers.
Right.
It's the way
the way
it works
across
the country.
It's the way the maps are drawn, right?
It's how it is.
So, but overall, it's not a state that is, it's not a booming conservative state.
Okay. So what happened? They've had these policies. I would imagine these policies started coming in and being implemented probably right around the same time the CEO came in.
I don't know that for sure, though.
Well, I'm guessing.
I mean, but I don't know that.
We don't know that. It's an opinion. I would venture to guess, if we're just now, everybody's outraged about it, I would say it's probably not been around that long.
Yeah. If you work there.
Let's be honest, DEI hasn't been around that long.
No.
In the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been around that
long.
long.
Or has it not been a topic that long?
I don't think that freaking term and those words I haven't heard for only a few years now.
That's a rabbit hole you can go down. Is DEI affirmative action, or is it just another way of broadening affirmative action? I mean, I think that conversation you could have. You could kind of pull apart the pieces of it,
It's deep. There's a lot to it.
And go down a rabbit hole. I don't think it just was poof, showed up.
So why did this come about now? Why did this
They got called out.
Right.
So who called them
Robbie
out?
Starbuck,
Yes.
who is an influencer, they say a filmmaker. He's on the interwebs. He's on social media. He's on X and all that stuff. And he's kind of made it his mission recently to go after these corporations that have these DEI policies. And he's done it now. He did it with Bud Light.
He did it with Tractor Supply.
He was a big part of Bud Light. He was a big part of the Tractor Supply. And now he tackled this one. And I don't think it's going to be the last one he goes after. But he went out there. He started talking about it. He started putting it out there. He started riling people up and getting it known. Because I don't think most of us that are just out there riding these bikes and love Harley Davidsons are really paying attention to corporate policies most of the time, right?
Don't really give that much.
Don't
shit
care, usually. But it usually takes somebody to start stirring that pot and letting people know what's really going on, and then people start getting fired up and getting pissed off, and that's kind of what happened. It started to brew late July when he started posting about it, and I'm gonna tell you, I was out there for the week of the rally, and it was a big buzz about that. Mm-hmm. And maybe if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I wouldn't have necessarily noticed it, but putting out videos while I was at Sturgis,
it drove the comments.
The comments were constantly about Harley and the wokeness and blah 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 blah, to the point where I was getting annoyed because my videos weren't about Harley. My videos were about the Sturgis rally, and Harley, as much as they are involved, and the majority of riders there are Harley riders, the rally would go on if Harley wasn't the biggest sponsor. Harley, we know this for a fact.
Harley didn't even show up in 2020.
We went our first time in 2020. Harley decided not to be there because of all the things that were going on in the world. Yeah. Rally went on. Rally still was a success. If they pulled out and they didn't exist anymore, someone else would step into that spot, Indian or who knows, somebody else. So it was kind of annoying, but it was really like in your face that this was the hot topic.
Yeah.
And obviously we couldn't do anything at the time as far as having this video earlier, but so that kind of drove that, and it just seemed to like snowball. And I didn't even see a lot of this until I started doing research for this video that people were, and I always question the sincerity and the authenticity of these, but people shooting up their Harleys, blowing up their Harleys, all that stuff. A lot of times I think you got to be very, very careful about what you see on the internet and social media and stuff, because
I'd have shot up your Harley for
things are staged. Yeah, if somebody was like, "Here, I got this old Harley that's a piece of shit and doesn't run. Let's blow it up for content on." YouTube, yeah, sure, sounds cool. You know, you get 500,000 views on it, and you know it's viral. But so yeah, it was super hot topic.
But I mean, there's good in all of this.
There is good.
I mean, there's good in the fact
it
that
had an effect.
People, you know, do people the world's hyperpolarized right now, or the country's hyperpolarized. So, do people overreact to stuff like this? Yes, they do. Did people in this point as a whole probably react appropriately? For the most part. I mean, you've got your people who are obviously going to always go over the edge, but enough of a message was sent to Harley that they rolled back their DEI programs. Now, that being said, they did roll them back, but there was an announcement of a rollback. They sent a letter. Was it genuine? I don't know. I mean, whatever. There's no announcement from the board. There's been no like announcement from Jochen Zeitz, which I think would have carried a lot more weight than a formatted letter done by the PR and legal department that was just sent out online. I think if Jochen would have got out, and we know Jochen doesn't mind being on camera. I mean, he's on camera at launch time, right? Yeah. So I feel like if he'd have got out there and said something and made it a little bit more personal, I think it would have carried more weight. But the programs are gone. Yeah.
Well, I think that for the people who made this an issue on social media, made this an issue on the internet, made this an issue by not buying their stuff and affecting their sales, not going to their setup at stores, all that. There's a victory lap in that for you or for us, whatever. It's a success, but I don't think for a lot of people, I don't think this is really over or a true victory. A lot of people want Zeitz gone. And a lot of people don't think that these policies are truly going to change and that the corporation's going to change until he is. So there's people, and some pretty knowledgeable people that I've watched predicting that could happen pretty soon, whether he steps down or the board decides that it's too much to have him around anymore and it's a negative. I could see it happening.
I got to be honest. I don't know. And now we'll have this is what's great about these conversations. This will be on video. You'll see it happen. I think it's a stretch. I think that they are a brand, and I think Zeitz is going to have an argument to the board. And this is just corporate America.
Zeitz.
He's going to have an argument to the board. Like, listen, I'm not done. It's this and this. I don't see him going anywhere yet.
Yeah. You know what? People running businesses, people running football programs, people running the CEOs and stuff have been released, for lesser stuff.
I get it, but I don't see.
I think the money talks, and it sounds like the money's down. It sounds like sales are down pretty good.
They can make him a scapegoat for that,
I don't
but
know. Yeah,
it's tough.
My question, and so this was my question, right? So we get on the Zeitz topic, and I said this to him earlier before. When did he come in? 1920? Somewhere in there? 2020, 2019?
Yeah, 2019.
What great achievements have happened in the Harley world since he's come in? Like, what can we tout? The only thing I can think of, and it's not, and depending on who you are, it might not be a great achievement, is the whole changeover of the Street Glide and the Road Glide to a totally different design. What else have they done that would be like, something he can hang his hat on and say, you can't fire me because look what I did?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Just not blown away.
A big thing I think he did financially is, and I like the guy when he first came on, and at this point I'm just like, I'm neither here nor there with him. But a big thing he did financially was he was smart enough to spin off Livewire. Yeah. Livewire was a brand that Harley kind of sees, a future in, but was hurting the bottom line.
Was he the CEO when Livewire launched?
I don't know.
Because I don't feel like I don't think that was properly priced. I don't think
he's been on the board for a long time. He was on the board definitely when it launched.
He's been involved.
No,
and I feel like that whole thing was botched. I don't feel like they did that right. I don't think it was priced right. I think there's a lot of issues with that coming out.
Yeah, and I think that they just were in a market that was much cheaper than they were, appealing to people that did not have the money to buy that. So many things that were wrong with that. But he got it off the Harley books. They created a company. He spun it off. Smart business decision, right? I think the apparel under him, and again, you don't know how much direction this has necessarily to him, but he's put people in place who've made this happen. I think their apparel's gotten better.
Their numbers were down this year.
Yeah, I know their numbers are down, but it's so.
But I mean, that's very hard to say
like,
because the economy
the economy's tough, but like Harley stuff is not cheap. But I do think overall, I think the apparel is better.
Yeah.
I think the designs, the stuff that they've come out is. I
mean, it's still not all made in America, so
it's not
until it is.
Which is now the next thing we talk about.
A huge faction of these viewers and these Harley people that pay their hard-earned money for these bikes that aren't going to be happy about it because it's an American company. They want things made here. I understand it. I think it's a lot deeper than the company. I think there's politics have a huge part in where stuff is made, and you can't really trash a company for just not being able to afford business here because of the government. But
some people don't care. They're mad over Harley sending stuff to Malaysia, more stuff over to Malaysia. They sent stuff over to Malaysia initially a few years ago to avoid tariffs,
right?
Because you have to do that. Right, you have to, in order just to survive and make money as a company, you're going to have production around the world if you're global. And Harley's a global company to avoid tariffs to maximize your profits. All companies do it. Ford does it. Toyota does it. Your Subarus are built in Kansas. Like everybody does that, to avoid those tariffs. And Harley's doing it none the same. But people are wound up about this, and to those people. That's driven by the political climate today. We do not have a business-friendly political climate. We haven't for the last 4 years. Harley ultimately is responsible to their shareholders. Jochen Zeitz may be the CEO, but he is not the boss. All right, the shareholders
are the board and the shareholders.
The shareholders are they're the boss. Like they dictate so much of what goes on, and people don't understand that. Most people don't even know what a shareholder is. They dictate that price on the street.
In their defense, it's all complicated crap, but
right. But that's all dictated by your sales and what your quarterly numbers are. And this is why we'll get into India in a minute. But it's a big deal, and that's why Harley's moving these jobs. They're going to get labor over there cheaper. Inflation here is driving up labor costs, and you know whose fault it is, honestly? For those of you watching this video, and I know there's some of you out there. I met somebody today. If you don't vote because politics don't affect you, well, then shame on you. It's your fault. Don't be mad at Harley. Be mad at yourself.
Oh, I know some people like that.
I had a guy in my house today who came to do some electrical work, and he's like, yeah, I don't vote that stuff. Yep. Yeah. So if you don't vote, and think about this, if you don't vote, this is your fault. Get out there and vote because you need to, if you want American, you need to fight to keep American stuff here. There's no other way for me to put it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a whole different thing, and it's one of those things. If you want to hear more about this stuff, go check out This American Ride podcast, where we talk more deeply about this. All I can say is,
get fired up about that.
People, if you're one of those people that think, I don't vote, I don't care about politics. Politics doesn't affect me. Well,
this is what it is.
Politics cares about you, and they plan on affecting you.
Yeah.
So you can pretend and put your head in the sand and act like you don't, but my personal opinion is it's your civic duty. Men have died, fought and died for your right to vote. And I think it's a slap in the face not to. But I digress. That's the totally different topic. Go ahead. Go on with the chlorophyll.
So go on with the chlorophyll. But that's that. I mean, and that's the stance on that. I mean, if they need to survive and meet numbers as a company, and they need to find ways to do that. And if they're finding ways to do that and stay profitable, then Jochen's gonna be there. He's not gonna go nowhere. Right. I mean, that's the thing. If he's keeping the board getting paid and the shareholders getting paid, at the end of the day, that's what's going to be done. All that being said, people affected change. People voiced their opinions. They voiced the threat of boycott. They did
the outrage was big enough.
The outrage was big enough.
It scared
that it affected change.
Yeah,
it created change, and it created change quickly. By the way, we're like 2 weeks. It took them 2 weeks to be like, yo, maybe we should pump the brakes.
And quite honestly, well, you can see from the trend, Bud Light, Tractor Supply, Harley Davidson now, like, the reality is the DEI stuff only seems to stick around if people are quiet about it. As soon as there's an outrage and you let them know that you're going to stop spending money on their company, they don't think it's important enough to keep around when it affects the money. So it kind of tells you that's probably unnecessary from the get-go.
Yep.
But so... Indian.
Can we talk about Indian now?
Yeah, so...
People like to call it Indian. It's not really Indian. Yeah. I mean, Indian is the brand of the motorcycle. but the mother company is
Polaris.
Polaris.
Right. So this was another one, and I am apologizing in advance to all of you watching, because the most of you are not responsible for how fired up I am about this, but
some of you are.
Some of you are, and you're probably all going to catch the brunt because of it, and I apologize. Love you guys. But
Let them have it.
We had a lot of comments, like I said, on Sturgis videos about this whole topic. And a lot of the comments from the people who wanted to bash Harley, talk about Harley being, Harley Davidson, and, there's a million different things, but buy an Indian. They're a real American company. They don't do this crap. They're not woke. Blah blah. And I doing my research for this, I saw actually like legitimate people with videos saying that you go to the Indian website, they don't have a DEI policy. They're American made. They're not woke. Man, you guys got to do better research, because I'm not good at research, and I found plenty to know that okay, they're owned by Polaris, who has absolutely got a massive DEI program going on. Mm-hmm. They hide it under the name RIDE. You want to know what RIDE stands for? Respect, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity. They just jumbled the letters in the order that they're in. It's DEI training. They have mandatory for their management unconscious bias training. What does that sound like? They have they've changed like their scope of candidates for the pipeline for their candidates for jobs to create a more diverse candidate pool. What does that sound like? They have partnerships with National Black MSA Association, Society of Women Engineers, all things where it's like you're focusing. It's exactly what DEI is. You're more worried about, is the person a minority? Is the person a woman? Is the person in the LGBTQ community? Instead of worrying about, is the person the best engineer or the best mechanic or the best, you know what I mean? Like, so it's 100% DEI under Polaris, and they're owned. Indian is owned by Polaris. Not to mention, we've talked about this, Indian has done many collaborations with Jack Daniels. Look up some Jack Daniels stuff. They're huge into the LGBT community, the DEI, all that stuff. So if you're gonna sit there and freaking sit on this, throne and act like, oh, Harley is woke, but Indian's not, you're stupid. You have no idea what you're talking about. Look it up, check it out, because they're every bit as bad. And to top it off, the bikes suck.
That'll be another video. But you're right. And what people understand is, like, when you look like Polaris and Polaris, I feel like if people did to Indian what they did to Harley, I don't think Polaris is going to move, because Polaris is just so big. It's got so much more stuff.
Of course.
And Polaris is big enough that, and the company has a small enough market share of the motorcycle market that they don't have to report their Indian numbers separately yet.
Right.
They need to get up.
That's been an issue since.
I forget what I think they need to get to like 12% or something of market share. So less than 12% of market share they have.
Yeah.
Indian for us, and I've said this a million times, again, not an option if you live in a Garden State, because you've got dealerships have been revolving. They've opened, they've closed. There's no like real company support. Right now, we've got one dealership in New Jersey. I think maybe there's a second. Oh, there's two. Motorcycle Mall is doing Indians in Belleville. So
they're not an Indian dealer.
No, they're not.
Indian.
No, they're not an Indian dealer. They sell a bunch of stuff, but they are selling.
And then we have the one across the river, which isn't far, but it's not.
But it's not close. And it's
none of them are close.
None of them are close. And the only reason I think Motorcycle Mall was is they were a Polaris dealer with Victory from back in the day, so they probably just folded right in. Mm-hmm. But still, like, it's not even. They're not even a competitor. It's
crazy, and it's funny because I saw another video. I mean, I'm on YouTube, guys. I saw another video where they were talking numbers, and they were talking about 2004, like the Harley sales numbers were like something point something billion, right? Mm-hmm. And then in 2024, it was only like it wasn't even, it was like, let's just say, I don't remember the exact numbers. Let's say in 2004 it was 1.2 billion, and in 2024 it was like 1.6 billion. So they hadn't like really increased it, right? But then they went and showed Indians numbers where they were like, 1 billion, and now they're like 9 billion. Those numbers aren't right. I'm just saying it was a huge increase. Well, that's because in 2004, Indians numbers were garbage.
I don't even know that they were. Yeah, it's just.
But you know what I mean? Like they were not even like it wasn't even in the even in this on the same planet as Harley, right? So yeah, Harleys might not have as increased as much over that 20-year period, but they were way ahead to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. So like. This is just a clear-cut case of how you can really skew numbers and statistics. Like you can make statistics say whatever you want them to say.
And we could talk about like market development, and once you have so much share of a market, your numbers are only then going to kind of grow with the market. Do I think that Indians out there taking noticeable share from Harley? No, I don't believe so. I don't think so for a minute.
I don't believe it.
Do I think that Indian is doing enough to make Harley pay attention to them? Absolutely, they are.
Do I think? Having been at Sturgis, do I think there was probably a considerable number more Indians present there than even as much as 2000?
Then maybe you noticed
that I noticed in 2000.
Yeah.
You saw Indians. There's Indians there, right? So it's a Harley dominated by a long shot, and then probably second best is probably Indian, and then third is probably like then you get into all the randoms.
Whatever.
But sure they've grown. They're making progress, but are they a legitimate contender?
Bottom line, are they less woke than Harley?
I challenge you to prove that they aren't just as woke. And maybe it's not on the Indian website, but guess what? Check out the Polaris website. It's there. It's the ride program.
And people who work for Indian don't work for Indian. They work for Polaris.
Exactly. So I know this video, it's not concise and 10 minutes and scripted like, some videos are. This is how we do our videos. If you're watching long enough, we kind of just, we talk through the issues, George and I. And it's one of those things, man. I mean, you can fall wherever you fall on this topic, but, and people, like you said, people got a little bit overboard on some of it, but it takes people voicing their opinion for a company that they care about, that they're passionate about, that they're investing their money in, to make change. If there's issues, you do what you got to do. I mean, if you want to boycott, if you want to voice your opinion on social media, that's your right. And if enough people do it, it speaks volumes because companies hear it. They know it's happening, and when it affects their sales, that's pretty much when it's going to make change, right?
Yeah.
So
the fear of affecting sales.
Yeah. I don't know the numbers. We didn't do the research on numbers in the last quarter or anything like that. That's not kind of our thing. I know there's channels out there that will do that. But listen, Harley Davidson, you can say what you want about them. I've always been of the belief that Harley, the Motor Co., Harley Corporation, the big dogs at the top, they don't create the Harley Davidson culture. They're not the ones that drive this community. Those of us that buy them, spend our hard-earned money on them, love them, customize them, ride cross country, ride to rallies, are involved in all those things. That's the culture. That's the community. So while we all should voice our opinion when it comes to them because we're all invested in some way or another, whether it's emotionally or financially, we're all invested. And you have every right to, voice your opinion, and hopefully, cause the change that you want. The reality is, man, we're the ones out there riding, going to Sturgis, having a blast, seeing the open road, traveling the country, all on this machine. That's the culture.
Wondering what's over the next hill.
Yeah, man, that is the culture. That's the brand. Corporate, can do whatever the heck they're going to do.
Yeah. No amount of marketing. Marketing didn't create this culture.
No, absolutely not.
That's what you need to understand. Like, marketing didn't create this.
No, marketing took advantage of the culture.
People created this. So
yeah, 100%.
That's the core of it all.
Listen, if you want to sell your Harley and you want to go to Indian, I'm never going to tell anybody what to do with their money. It's your right to do what you want. But I do suggest you do some research before you just willy-nilly jump to something else because you think they're better in this kind of department of wokeness that we discussed today. But yeah, I'll be keeping mine. I love my bike. I love the culture and the community. I just came back from Sturgis. It was an amazing time. Met a lot of great people. A lot of you guys found me and came and talked to me. That's the culture. That's the community. What the people in suits are doing.
Yeah.
That is what it is. That is what it is across the board and all companies.
Yeah, not just Harley.
Try to find a major corporation the size of Harley that doesn't have these same issues. I challenge you to find it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, voice your opinion if you don't agree with it, because you're invested. You've spent money,
Whether it's Ford, Chevy, Dodge.
Yeah. You're their consumer. Yeah. You're the one keeping them in business. You have every right to invest or to voice your opinion on social media, wherever. And I highly recommend everybody does that. That's the only way things get changed. But yeah, I don't know. I think the bottom line is, are you getting rid of your Harley?
No. Maybe.
If it is, I don't think it'll be because they're woke. It might be because you're broke, but it won't be because they're woke. I'm not getting rid of mine. I love mine. I just had things done to it. I'm really excited to ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, leave your comments. We'd love to hear your take on this. I know you guys have opinions. Trust me, I know. I've read them all. But please.
And if you see a video where people say Indians not woke, go let them know how stupid they are.
Yeah, and stay tuned for our Indian videos, because we got some of those coming too.
They're coming.
They are definitely coming. But yeah, please hit that thumbs up. If you haven't already, and if you stayed this long, you might as well hit the subscribe button. If you stayed this long, you're kind of invested.
Please.
Hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down, leave a comment either way. Hit the bell notification so you know the next time we put a video out. We got a lot of them coming. I still got a lot of stuff coming from Sturgis. And more importantly than any of that, guys, we still have a charity fundraising going on.
For Tunnel to Towers.
For Tunnel to Towers. Most of you know. If you don't, we've been trying to raise money all year for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. We had our big event, and that was the big event that we've been working for all year, but we're still trying to raise money until the end of this year, until the ball drops on New Year's Eve. We're going to be raising money. We have our commemorative poker chip for Tunnel to Towers for sale on baggersandbrews.com. We also have these shirts that he's wearing that are event shirts, hard to see, but we have these event shirts that were donated to us. 100% of the proceeds go into Tunnel to Towers along with the poker chip. So please go over to Baggers and Brews, check that out. And while you're there, we have our merch if you want to help support the channel. But those things, anything that's Tunnel to Towers related is 100% going to Tunnel to Towers. We are around 25,000. Our goal was 50,000. We could certainly still get there if you guys want to help us out. But at this point, I think we're kind of playing on house money. So I'm excited to be able to donate that much money. And we'll get to those final numbers at the end of the year. But baggersandbrews.com, check it out. There's a lot of stuff over there. Plus, that's where all our information is and all our links and everything else. So check that out.
Yeah, man.
All right?
Yeah.
I think we're good, man. Good time. Stay tuned for a lot more videos. I got more Sturgis videos coming up. We got some live streams coming up. We got another raffle coming up.
We do.
We'll be announcing that soon. We got something else we're going to raffle off for the charity, for the fundraising. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on Instagram for all the info. That's it. I'm done.
Finito. Finale.
See you on the next one.
Later.